A commercial flower grower should consider the option of selling their flowers on the international market. This especially benefits smaller growers in developing countries as they can earn foreign currency, most often in the form of US dollars or euros. If you are considering exporting your flowers, stay tuned for some tips towards the end of the video. 40% of all flower exports are traded through Royal Floral Holland, the world's largest flower auction house. Historically, the famous Dutch flower auction clock was used by growers and buyers to trade the commodity. However, to meet the demands of an increasingly digital world, most of this trade now occurs online. So, it seems the Dutch flower auction clock is a relic of the past. Well, not quite. If we make the journey to Johannesburg, South Africa, we find another clock, this time at the Multiflora Flower Auction House. With roughly 600 growers, Multiflora is the largest flower auction house in Africa. At least 80% of these flowers on auction at Multiflora are grown within 300 kilometers of Johannesburg. The remaining flowers come from the Western Cape and Natal provinces and the northern regions of the country, as well as from Kenya, Zimbabwe and other African countries. The auctions, held from Monday to Saturday from 7 a.m, are attended by hundreds of florists and wholesalers. The wholesalers then distribute the fresh flowers to almost every city, town and village in South Africa and in some cases, export the blooms to other countries. Some of the wholesalers have retail outlets in the Multiflora Flower Hall and sell directly to florists and members of the public. So how does the auction clock work? The price on the clock is set by the auctioneer at a high price, which then rotates to lower prices. The buyer who presses his button first stops the clock on the price he intends to pay and communicates with the auctioneer on the quantity of containers he wishes to purchase. Buyers need to pay careful attention, as stopping the clock too early will result in him overpaying, while waiting too long for prices to decrease can mean he loses out completely on buying flowers. The following details are shown on the clock. On the top right, the number of containers still available from the same party, the quantity of stems or bunches per container, and the grading of the flowers. On the bottom right, the number of containers that the previous buyer bought. On the bottom left, the trolley number, and in the middle of the clock, the price the current buyer is paying and the current buyer's number. The information screen below the clock is divided in two sections and shows the following. On the first line, the flower type currently being auctioned and an indication whether the flowers are sold per bunch or stem, the grading of the flowers, the color and variety, stem lengths, the quantity of well-developed buds per stem, and if there is a letter I after the variety, this indicates that the flowers are imported. The name of the grower is on the second line. And there you have it, a brief introduction to flower exports at Royal Floral Holland and at Multiflora. If you have ever visited either of these auctions, let us know about your experience in the comments. And now, as promised, here are some tips for exporting your flowers. Tip 1. Grow more of the same flower instead of lots of different varieties. During our visit to the Protea Pro Nico, he told us how important it is for growers to grow lots of one flower type. When exporting, you need critical mass and should therefore focus on growing many stems of a single flower. Tip 2. Harvest your flowers in a tighter bud stage. As your flowers need to survive long overseas journeys, you should harvest them earlier compared to those you would sell locally. While these stages will differ from flower to flower, you can see here how gladiolus stems are picked just as the bottom flowers start to show color. Tip 3. Protect your flowers. Damaged blooms will not sell, and as such, you must protect delicate flowers. While harvesting the flowers early will also protect the blooms, you can consider some damage control options like the ones shown here. And that's that for our video on exporting flowers. Thank you for watching, and we will see you in the next video.